Good morning, madam. Good morning. So today our topic is the pharmacology of thyroid hormones. So already you have studied in the B Farm first year in HAP regarding endocrine pharmacology. That is the functions of the thyroid hormone. So anyone can shortly answer. So what is the need of the thyroid hormones? Anyone? Okay. So thyroid hormones it is mainly involved in the development of your brain or intelligence. Okay. So whatever your tactiles are there, intelligence are there, so that is the role of the thyroid hormones, that is the importance of the thyroid hormones. It is required for the overall development of the brain. So as the brain is developed very well, so then only our memory power, our intelligence, our calculation power, our reaction power, our answering capacity, that is known as the recalling memory, so that power is mainly depending upon the ability or secretions of the thyroid hormones from the thyroid glands. Okay, so today we learn regarding the pharmacology of thyroid hormones. So first, regarding the introductions. So dear students, so thyroid hormones so mainly present in the front of the neck, that is anterior to the neck. Okay, so that is exact location means it is present between the C5 and T1 vertebra, that is cervical fifth vertebra to the thoracic one vertebra. So that is exact location of the our thyroid glands. Okay, the size of the thyroid gland is 30 grams, or it is just below the voice box or larynx. So that is the location of the our thyroid glands. Its weight, its size is 30 gram, and shape it is look like a butterfly. You can, for detail, you can see the image. Okay, so this is the hyoid bone. Okay, so just higher below the hyoid bone, that is the cartilage of the thyroid glands. Okay, it is not a thyroid gland, it is the cartilage. Okay, one type of the connective tissue. It is helpful for to hold the thyroid glands or bones. Okay, so just below the thyroid cartilage, so that is the location of the thyroid glands. So dear students, the thyroid gland is a endocrine gland. It can produces the thyroid hormones like T3, T4, and as well as the calcitonin, and their hormones are also stored in the same glands. So whenever our body is required, or when our body having the deficiency of the T3 and T4 and need of calcitonin, so then only, so these hormones, so they are released to the our blood directly without any ducts. So due to that reason, the thyroid gland is categorized as a endocrine glands. Okay, so thyroid gland is mainly divided into a two part, that is the right lobe and the left lobe. Okay, so between right lobe and left lobe, so one area is present, that is like a tank bond. It is filled with the certain fluid. So that is in the technically it is known as the isthmus. Okay, it is one type of the, that is a tank bond like structure. So where certain fluid is filled, so that fluid or that place filled with the fluid, it is helpful for to connect the right lobe of the thyroid gland, so that is with the left lobe. So that place is known as the thymus of thyroid gland. So it is the exact location of the, so these positions. Okay, so just below, so that is the trachea. Okay, so the thyroid gland is also highly vascularized organ. It means it is continuously required the blood. So the rate is, that is 80 to 120 ml of blood, that is oxygenated or pure blood per minute. It is required for the thyroid gland. So those organs of our body, so they required continuously oxygenated blood or pure blood from the systemic circulation, and such organs are known as the vascularized organs. And among them, all organs they require the oxygenated blood, but among some organs they require the more oxygen and continuously. Okay, and such organs are known as the highly vascularized organs. Okay, so mainly the highly vascularized organ is a, that is the brain. So our brain, it is required around 1300 ml to 1800 ml blood per minute. Okay, so after that other organs are there, lung, kidney, so they are also highly, that is vascularized organ. Among the adrenal gland is also highly vascularized organ. It required 80 to 120 ml of blood per minute. It means if any oxidation process or deficiency of the oxygen in the body, that is also reflect on the thyroid gland function, because thyroid gland, it require the 80 to 120 ml of blood. So if any deficiency on the respiration due to respiratory disorder, so on that time the supply of oxygenated blood can be decreases, or any problem related to the heart, so then also the supply of the blood towards the, so these highly vascularized organ is less. And as well as any oxidation process in the body, so on that time we are having the deficiency of the oxygen in the blood, so on that time, so these organ is also more affected. Or another good example is a, so due to lack of hemoglobin, okay, so due to decrease the hemoglobin content in our blood, then supply of oxygen capacity of the blood, so that is also decreases. And these organs like brain, kidney, our liver, lungs itself, and thyroid gland, so they can got the less oxygenated blood, so due to that, so they are under the malfunctions. Okay, due to deficiency of hemoglobin, only you do not suffering from the anemia, but other organs is also malfunctioned. Okay, so those people are suffering from the low hemoglobin, so their brain cannot be concentrated, because brain is also highly perfused organ, so that brain, it can got the less oxygenated blood due to lack of the hemoglobin content in blood, so on that time the brain function is also altered. So my meaning is only, you always, you maintain the healthy hemoglobin, especially for the girls, because so that hemoglobin, it can supply the oxygenated blood, so that blood containing oxygen, it can required for the functions of the highly vascularized organ. So that's why you always concentrate your hemoglobin should be near to the normal, plus or minus 1 is okay, but it should be nearly 14.5, maybe plus 1, maybe minus 1, or it should be between the range only, so then only our all organs are healthy. Otherwise, continuously your hemoglobin is less in the blood, then these organs are undergo the oxidative stress. In future, we are suffering from the thyroid cancer or brain cancer, failure of the kidney or nephrotoxicity or asthma or any malfunction in the heart due to lack of the supply of the oxygen. So that's why you concentrate on the hemoglobin content. So and here our topic is, so this thyroid gland is a highly vascularized organ. It is also required 80 to 120 ml of blood per minute. So that blood or oxygenated containing blood is helpful for to regulate the functions of the thyroid gland. And thyroid gland is mainly divided into two part, right lobe and left lobe. It can interconnect with the one isthmus, so that is known as the isthmus of the thyroid glands. Okay, so next, that is the biosynthesis of T3 and T4. Dear students, so thyroid glands, it's mainly consist of the two type of cells. So those are present in the thyroid gland tissues, or thyroid gland tissues made up of the tissues, and those tissues they having the special type of the cells, and those cells are known as the follicular cell and parafollicular cells. Okay, so thyroid gland, it consists of the two type of cells. One is the, that is the follicular cells, another one is a parafollicular cells. So those parafollicular cell, so they are present side to the follicular cells. Okay, so this is the typical structure of follicular cell. Okay, so that is the side of the or between the follicular cell, that is the parafollicular cells are present. So these parafollicular cell, they secrete the hormone like a calcitonin. So this calcitonin is required for the regulations of the plasma calcium level. We are already learned in the last class how the calcitonin, it is helpful for to decrease the elevated calcium level in the blood by enhancing the excretions of calcium or by enhancing the depositions of the calcium or minerals on the bone. But another main type of the cells of the thyroid gland is a follicular cells. So this, it is the typical structure of follicular cells, and between the or cytoplasm of the follicular cell, it will be having the special type of the colloids, one type of the protein. So this colloid, it is present in the between the or cytoplasm of the follicular cells, and this colloid, it can contain the one type of protein. So that protein is known as a thyroglobulins. Okay, so that colloid, it consists of protein. So that protein is known as the thyroglobulins. So this thyroglobulin is a source for the tyrosine, and synthesis of the T3 T4 is mainly depending upon the release of the tyrosine from the thyroglobulin. So that thyroglobulin is present in the cytoplasma of the follicular cell in the form of the colloids. So whenever it is required, so then only thyroglobulin undergo the one process. So that process is known as the exocytosis. So you already are learned in the first class, I think, that is the accumulations of calcium in the particular type of cells. It can cause the shrinkage of the cells. So like that, the calcium is responsible for to cause the exocytosis of the thyroglobulin. So those are present in the cytoplasm of the follicular cell, and those, they are releases the, so this tyrosine, and tyrosine is required for the synthesis of the T3 and synthesis of the T4. This is the basic information regarding the biosynthesis of T3 and T4. So that is mainly depending upon the main molecule, that is the iodide, and second molecule is the tyrosines. Any deficiency in the iodide in the food, then also we are suffering from the hypothyroidism. And iodide, it is mainly present in our eating salt. So that is the iodide salt. So now all the type of cells, that is a salt, so they are the iodine containing or iodide containing salt. So they are the source for the thyroid glands for synthesis of the thyroid hormones like T3 and T4, as well as whatever the seafoods are there or mineral foods are there from the sea. So those all seafoods, so they are containing the iodide. For good example, in your Maharashtra, the Konkan peoples or Konkan students or Konkan community people, so they are free for the fish. Okay, and they also, they are the topper in the GPAT, they are topper in the MBBS, they are topper in the NEET, as well as they are topper in the MSCT as compared to us. So where we are eating only the roti and dal, because so they are free for the fish, because the fish is easily available for them as compared to us like a gyu and jawar. For them, they are easily available, so they are free for the fish. So that fish, it can containing the iodide. So that iodide is required for the biosynthesis of T3 and T4 as a thyroid hormones. Then that thyroid hormones is involved in the development of the brain, and due to increase the development of brain, our intelligence power is also increases. So that's why, so those students from the Konkan area of the Maharashtra, or those students or people or community, so they are preferring the fish or they're preferring the seafood. So they are more intelligent as compared to, so those are purely vegetarians. In some typical cases, the vegetarian is also topper. So that is the, so their hard work, so their activeness or their junoon regarding the to do something in the GPAT or NEET somewhere in the competitive exams. But overall, the development of the brain is more in the Kokon students, so as compared to the, so that's why I that is the informed you, whenever the possible, so you can also prefer the whatever the kind of the seafood, so they are containing the iodide. So that iodide is play important role in the biosynthesis of T3 T4 and as well as the tyrosines. So this tyrosine is stored in the inside the follicular cells in the form of the colloid in presence in the thyroglobulin. So this point you should be remember. They may be asked in the competitive exam or future any type of the exam. So that thyroglobulin, it can release the tyrosine. And what is the tyrosine? And tyrosine is a amino acid. Okay, tyrosine is a amino acid. So that amino acid is required for the biosynthesis of the T3 and T4. Okay, so these thyroid gland cells like follicular cells, so they can catch the iodide from the blood. Okay, so they are catch the iodide from the blood, that is known as the entrapping of iodide, that is to pick up the iodide from the blood. So that process is known as the iodide trapping or entrapping of the iodide. So that process is occurs under the influence of the TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. It is the one type of hormone secreted from the thyrotropes, and thyrotropes are the special type of cells, so those are present in the anterior pituitary glands. So here the hypothalamus, it can secrete the one hormone, that is hypothalamic hormone, that is known as the thyroid releasing hormone from the hypothalamus. So this hormone is reaches to the thyrotropes of the anterior pituitary gland. Then anterior pituitary gland, it can secrete the or thyrotropes of the anterior pituitary gland, they can secrete the TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. So that hormone travel in the blood and enter towards the follicular cells. So when it enter to the follicular cell, it can stimulate the functions of the follicular cell. So then only under the guidance or influence of TSH, the follicular cells, so they are involved in the entrapping of the iodide from the blood. So that process is known as the entrapping of iodide. And this iodide is enter into the follicular cells, so through a channels, and those channels are known as the sodium iodide symport. Okay, and mechanism is a acute transport, you should be remember. So iodide from the blood, it can enter into the follicular cell by mechanism of the acute transport. So those are preparing for the GPAT, and those student, you should be remember how the iodide can enter into the follicular cells. First, by following the process, that is active transport. And here the active transport mean the transport of the substances from lower concentration to the higher concentrations by utilizations of the ATP or energy in the form of the ATP. So that process is known as the active transport. So like that, the iodide from the blood under the influence of TSH, it can enter into the follicular cell by involving the active transport process through a channels, and those channels are known as a, that is a sodium iodide symport. It means certain channels are present in the follicular cells are plasma membranes of the follicular cells. So these channels are made up of the integral proteins or peripheral proteins. So they act as channels, and some channels they are known as the sodium iodide channels and are sodium iodide input. So first, the sodium can be enter inside the follicular cell, okay, from the blood. Okay, so due to movement of sodium from extracellular fluid into the inside the cell or intracellular fluid of the follicular cell, it can create the one type of the energy that is known as the ATP. So this ATP is helpful for the movement of the iodide from extracellular fluid into the intracellular fluid by a active transport mechanism. So like that, the ATP for active transport for movement of iodide inside cell is came from the movement of sodium from same direction from extracellular fluid into the intracellular. So movement of positive charge sodium ion, it can create the ATP. Okay, so that ATP or that type of chemical energy is helpful for the movement of the iodide. So dear students, here, so both molecule is movement is the same directions. Okay, there is no opposite. Sodium is also enter inside the cell, and after that the iodide is also enter inside the cell. So that's why the movement of two molecule occurs in the same direction. So such mechanism is known as a symport. Symport indicates the movement of the molecule or substance in the same direction. First molecule is moved, it that is a movement, and it can create some energy. So that energy is utilized for the movement of the another molecule like a iodide. And another mechanism is there, so that is commonly known as the anti-symport. So where one molecule is moved outside the cell, that is opposite direction, it creates the energy. So that energy is helpful for the movement of the another molecule from outside to the inside. There is opposite direction movement is present, and such mechanism or phenomena is known as a antiport. But here it is a symport. It means the movement of the both molecule is occurs in the same direction. So here the iodide is entrapped by a follicular cell. Those are entered through the certain type of channels. So those channels are known as the sodium iodide channels, or mechanism is known as the sodium iodide symport, and it is a active transport process. It means the movement of iodide is occurs from lower concentration to the higher concentration by utilizations of the energy, that is the ATP. So that ATP can produces due to movement of sodium from extracellular fluid into the intracellular fluid. So movement of these positive charge ion, they create energy, that is chemical energy. So that energy is helpful for the movement of the iodide from, that is the extracellular fluid, into the inside the follicular cell. So that process is known as a, that is entrapping of iodide. Okay, so this is the first process of the biosynthesis of T3 T4, that is pickup of the iodide from the follicular cell, that is from the blood by a follicular cell under the influence of the thyroid stimulating hormone. So that map phenomena or says steps is known as the entrapping of the iodide. So from the here, that is that entrapped iodide, it can move slightly inside the cytoplasm of the follicular cells. So where one enzyme is present, so that is known as the peroxidase enzyme. That is the our one type of cell organelles are present in the cytoplasm, that is known as the peroxisomes. Okay, so those peroxisomes, they are containing the certain kind of enzyme. So those group of enzymes are known as the peroxidase enzyme. So from the follicular cell membrane of the follicular cell, so these iodide is moved inside the cytoplasm of the follicular cell. So where, so this enzyme can be released. Okay, so this peroxidase enzyme, it can convert iodide into a iodines. Okay, so it can convert iodide into iodine. It is the second process of the biosynthesis of T3 T4, and this process is known as the iodination. Okay, that is iodide converted into iodine. So that process is the not iodination, that is the conversations and iodinations. Okay, so it is the second step. Then after that, so that iodine it can reacts with the tyrosine, so that it become the iodide tyrosine. So that process is the iodination. So then, so that iodine it can bind with the tyrosine, so that is known as a MIT, that is monoiodotyrosine. And as well as it can forms the two molecule that is known as the diiodotyrosine or DIT. So that is known as the condensation or coupling reactions. That is the third steps. First step, entrapping of iodide. Second step, iodide converted into iodine, then reacts with the tyrosine. Then it becomes the monoiodotyrosine, means one molecule of iodide bind with the tyrosine, it can form the MIT, monoiodotyrosine. Or two molecule of iodide it can react with the one molecule of tyrosine, that is known as the diiodotyrosine, that is the DIT. And this step is known as the iodination. It is the second step of the biosynthesis of T3 and T4. And later on, that is the form, that is the condensations. Okay, so later on, so this MIT, one molecule of MIT, it reacts with the one molecule of DIT. It can forms the T3, that is a triiodotyrosine. And two molecule of DIT, it can forms the, that is tetraiodothyronine or thyroxine, that is a T4. Okay, dear students. So one molecule of MIT, it can react with the one molecule of DIT. It can forms the, that is triiodothyronine, that is the T3. And two molecule of DIT plus DIT, it can react coupling together. Okay, they are joined together. They form the T4. So this is the third steps of the biosynthesis of T3 and T4. And this reaction or these steps is known as the condensation reactions or coupling reactions. So where one molecule of MIT reacts with one molecule of DIT, form the T3, and two molecule of DIT interact each other, so they can form the tetraiodothyronine or also known as the thyroxine, that is the T4. Okay, and after formation of T3 T4, so when blood is required, they are released. Otherwise, the excess of the T3 and T4, they are stored in the same colloid. So that colloid is present in the cytoplasma of the follicular cell. It means the biosynthesized T3 T4, they are stored in the follicular cell. So when our blood will be having the low quantity of T3 and T4, so those can detected by the chemoreceptor, send information to the cerebral cortex. Then cerebral cortex can be regulate the positive feedback mechanism. So then only so that message can reaches to the follicular cell, where so that this enzyme, that is the lysosome enzyme, can be releases. It is present in the lysosome or present in the cytoplasma of the follicular cell. So this lysosome enzyme, it can causes the release of the T3 T4 from the colloid or from the thyroglobulin, where it can be stored. So then only T3 T4 under the influence of the lysosome enzyme, so that can releases into the our blood. So this is the positive feedback mechanism is applicable for the all type of the release of hormones. Hello. So this lysosome is present in the cytoplasma of the follicular cell. It is required for the condensations of the membranes of the cytoplasm, that is the follicular cell. Then it can releases the T3 T4. So like that, the T3 T4, so they are released to the our blood, and release the T3 T4, they acts on the various site. Okay, so they are regulate the various functions of the our body. Okay, so this T3 T4, so they are mainly acts on the that is the special type of receptors. So those receptors are known as a thyroid. Okay, so T3, T4, they acts on the receptor, and those receptors are known as the thyroid receptor, or it is also denoted as or written as a TR. TR indicates thyroid receptors. Okay, so dear students, the thyroid receptors are a nuclear type of receptor. So already you are learned in the pharmacology 1, that is a type of receptor. So receptors, so they are mainly classified into 4 types. That is, the first one is the G protein coupled receptor. It indicates somewhere the G protein is activated. So then only the modulation signaling are generated. Such type of receptors are known as the G protein coupled receptor. Okay. And second type of receptor, so those are known as the ionotropic receptor. It means any ligand or drug bind on these receptor means where the movement of ion is taken plus, that is entry of sodium or exit of sodium, entry of potassium or exit of potassium, or entry of calcium or exit of calcium. So like that, the movement of only ions can be taken place with the help of the channels, and such receptors are known as the ion gated channels receptor or ionotropic receptor. Okay. And the third type of receptor, so those are known as the kinase receptor. Okay, these are known as the kinase receptors. Its active bind present in the extracellular, and its activated bind is present in the domains are present in the intracellular. So where the drug or bind on the these receptor inside, so one enzyme is activated, so that enzyme is the kinase. So due to activations of kinase, various biological activity can be occurs, and such type of receptors are known as the kinase receptors. But our today's receptor is a nuclear receptor. So these receptor, so they are present in the nuclear membrane of the nucleus of the cell. So the T3, T4, so they enter in the inside the cells of the organ, so where they want to work or act, and inside the cytoplasm, so they acts on the nuclear receptor, and these receptors are present in the, that is the nuclear membrane of the nucleus of the, so that particular type of receptor. So where that T3 is mainly causes the transcription of DNA. Okay, so those were, they can causes the transcriptions of the DNA. It means they are enhance the formations of DNA. I already can explain in the last classes. So as the DNA number is increases, the RNA number is also increases. So as the DNA RNA number increases, the protein synthesis is increases. So as the protein synthesis increases, the development of the body is increases. So like that, the thyroid hormones, their acts on the nuclear receptor or thyroid receptor, and thyroid receptors are the example for the nuclear receptor were binding on the these receptor, so they can causes the transcriptions of DNA. So yeah, the transcriptions of DNA increases, the formations of mRNA is increases, that is the messenger RNA. So this messenger RNA, it can contain the one message for required for synthesis of the particular type of the protein. Then it, this mRNA template or mRNA enters towards your ribosomes. Then the ribosomes, so those are involved in the synthesis of the protein. So like that, the thyroid hormones, so they are involved in the to regulate the growth by enhancing the formations of the proteins. But here dear students, so this T4, it do not have any actions. But when T3 is less, then T4 can convert into T3. Then only the T3, it can act on the thyroid receptor. So in the presence of the one enzyme, so that enzyme is known as the 5-iodinase. So when T3 level is less in the blood, then T4 can convert it into a T3 in the presence of the 5-iodinase enzyme. So that T3 acts on the thyroid receptors, then it is involved in the to cause the transcriptions of DNA, and this TR receptor, they are present in the nuclear membrane, not a plasma membranes. Okay, you should be remember. So that's why, so they are present in the nuclear membrane. So due to that, so these receptors are known as the nuclear receptors. So when they are bind on the nuclear receptor, they can causes the changes in the inside the nucleus. So already you have know. So inside the nucleus, the nucleoles are present, or genetic materials are present, or DNA is present. Okay, so due to binding on NR receptor or TR receptor by T3, it can enhance the formation of the DNA. So as the DNA number increases, automatically the DNA can convert into mRNA. So as the mRNA number increases, so this mRNA from nucleus enters towards the our ribosomes. So then the ribosomes, so they are involved in the formations of the protein, and protein is required for the development of the body. So like that, the growth hormones is also involved in the development of the body. Okay, so now we can learn regarding the pharmacological actions of the, so this thyroid hormones. So first, that is the calorogenic action. So I here denoted as thermogenesis. It means the thyroid hormones, they can enhance the body temperatures. Okay, because thyroid hormones, so they are mainly acts on the various tissues, so where they can enhance the basal metabolic rate or basal metabolic reaction. So as the metabolic reaction is increases, so more ATP and more heat is generated. So that ATP is required for the to supply the ATP energy to the cells for regulations of the various metabolic functions, including the synthesis of the proteins, and that generated temperature heat is required for the, that is the to maintain the body heat or body temperature. So that due to that, so that action is known as the calorogenic action. It means the T3 T4, they are highly calorized molecule, or highly energy can be generated by enhancing the BMR, as well as they enhance the utilizations of the oxygen by the tissue. Okay, so they can enhance the, okay, so the first action is the calogenic, because it can enhance the productions of ATP by enhancing the basal metabolic reaction and consumptions of the oxygen, and as well as it can enhance the temperature. As the activity of muscle increases, automatically the generations of heat is increases. So that heat is required for the to maintain the body temperature. So due to that, that is known as the thermogenesis. It means the T3 T4, so they are involved to maintain the our body temperature. If any problem in the T3, then our body temperature also down, or it cannot be normalized. Okay, and second pharmacological action, so it is involved in the or regulate the carbohydrate metabolism. Okay, so where oral reaction action like a growth hormone, it is enhance the blood sugar level, but growth hormone, it can having the anti-insulin like activity. Okay, insulin enhance the utilizations of the glucose by a cell. So and growth hormone, it can oppose, it can inhibit the utilizations of the glucose by a cell. So due to that, the growth hormone will be having the anti-insulin like activity, but the T3, it do not have the anti-insulin like activity, but it is also increase the blood sugar level. It is also involved in the to cause of the diabetes mellitus. So as the T3 T4 secretions increases, then the diabetes mellitus is also causes. For this reason, if those are too intelligent, that is IS officer, IPS officer, they always having the diabetes mellitus. This is the reason, because so their intelligence is mainly dependent on T3 T4, that secretion synthesis is more, and same T3 T4, it can enhance the development of the brain, along with it can enhance the blood sugar level. So due to that, those people are also suffering from the diabetes mellitus. It means the overfunction or more functions of the thyroid gland is also responsible for to cause of the diabetes mellitus. It is not only related to the malfunctions of the beta cells. Okay, so dear students, so when anyone your relatives or friend or your patients, if they are confirmed diabetes mellitus, means it is not related to pancreatic malfunction. It may be related to the over secretions of growth hormone, so that can conclude, or it can related to the over secretions of the T3 T4. So that's why you go for the blood sampling test regarding the percentage of T3 T4 or the percentage of TSH, that is the thyroid stimulating hormone. If it is more, then more T3 T4 form. So that elevated sugar level is related to the thyroid, not related to the pancreatic gland. So here, so whatever the systemic anti-diabetic drugs are there, they are not sufficient to treat the diabetes, because so this diabetes is related to the T3 and T4. So on that time, we do the medication or treatment, so that should be control the functions of T3 T4. Okay, so that's why here, dear students, the here the T3 T4, they enhance the carbohydrate metabolism by enhancing the gluconeogenesis in the liver, that is the formation of the glucose from non-carbohydrate source from the liver. So that process can be increases by the T3, and as well as the T3 enhance the breakdown of the glycogen in the liver, that is the glycogenolysis. So due to breakdown of glycogen, the sugar level is increases, and due to enhancement of the gluconeogenesis, then also the blood sugar level is increases. But another side, so this T3, it can enhance the utilization of glucose by a cell. It is one type of the beneficial effect. It can enhance the utilization of glucose by our cell. So due to that, one side, it also decreases the blood sugar level. It is only in the up to normal secretions of T3 T4. If it is abnormal, then the sugar level is more, then only that person should be suffering from the diabetes mellitus. Okay, second, third pharmacological action, it is also involved in the protein metabolism. So here, the protein action on the protein metabolism, it will be having the mixed type of action. So the T3, it is having the both anabolic activity as well as the catabolic activity. So anabolic means it can build up the proteins, or it can forms the new molecule by utilizations of the smaller molecule or amino acid. It can utilize the amino acid and involved in the formations of the desired proteins or new protein. So that function is known as the anabolic action. And same T3 is also involved in the catabolic action, that is, it can break down protein into a amino acids. Okay, it can break down larger protein into a amino acid. So that action is known as the catabolic action. So catabolic action is causes due to by causing the negative nitrogen balance. Okay, so T3, it can cause the negative nitrogen balance. It means it can enhance the excretions of the nitrogen through the kidney. So due to that lack of nitrogen in the blood, the protein cannot be synthesized. So that action is known as the catabolic action. Okay, the T3, it can cause the, or it can decrease the synthesis of protein by causing the negative nitrogen balance by enhancing the excretions of the nitrogen through the urine or through the kidney. And same T3, it can have the anabolic action. It means it can enhance the protein synthesis once again by causing the positive nitrogen balance, not a negative. Okay, by inhibiting the excretions of nitrogen from the urine. On another side, it can enhance the movement of the amino acid inside the cell. And another side, it can causes the formations of the DNA or formations of the mRNA. It means more DNA mRNA and utilizations of more amino acid, it can enhance the protein synthesis. So that action is known as the anabolic action. So now our doubt is, same molecule, how it can show the anabolic and catabolic, or when it can show anabolic action, when it can show the catabolic action. So dear students, in smaller dose, okay, in the regular little the normal release of T3 and shorter duration of act time, so on that time it can shows the anabolic action. अगर आपके बॉडी में T3 नॉर्मल लेवल पे ही है and it can act on the smaller time, okay, अगर नॉर्मल लेवल है, short time it can act and immediately it can metabolize from the liver, so that time it can shows the smaller duration of action and normal dose or smaller dose, so then only the T3 is involved in the to show the anabolic action. If T3 is excess, if it is more available in the blood, so then it action can prolong for the longer time, so on that time it can shows the catabolic actions. Okay, that means the hyperthyroidism, it can causes the catabolic action, it can decreases the secretions, that is the formations of the protein. So that's why, so those people, they are suffering from the hyperthyroidism or also known as the thyroid toxicosis, so they are more and more weak or their weight can gradually decreases. Okay, the loss of weight is gradually decreases, but the normal weight loss is within 1 month only we should be lost 2.5 kg to 5 kg. If it is more than 5 kg, so that weight loss is known as the abnormal. So that can be seen in the hyper secretions of the T3, so due to catabolic action, but it is normal, it is small dose releases or as need of the body is releases, so on that time it can shows the anabolic action. So that anabolic action is required for the to maintain the growth of the body and development of the body. Okay, so next, pharmacoaction, it is also involved in the fat metabolism. So here the T3, it can enhance the lipolysis, that is the breakdown of the lipids into free fatty acids, triglyceride into smaller free fatty acids. So that process is known as the lipolysis. It means that T3, it can clear the plasma bad fat level by enhancing the lipolysis. It means it is one of the beneficial effect. On another side, same thyroid hormones, they can enhance the excretions of the cholesterol from the blood. So these are the beneficial effect. If any person, they will be having the excess of cholesterol in the blood, or that condition is not corrected by the many drugs. So if the therapy was failed, on that time your helpful drug is a T3. If your T3 concentration in your blood is normal, then it can enhance the excretions of cholesterol by enhancing the lipolysis or excretions of cholesterol. So that is helpful for to control the over fat in the blood or to clear the bad fat in the blood. Okay, so that's why in some cases the control of obesity or cardiovascular collapse, so that can treated with the help of the T3 or with the help of the T4. Okay, so next, that is the, it also regulate the growth. Okay, especially the T4 T3, so they are involved in the development of the brain. Okay, in certain book they are mentioned that T3 does not cross the blood brain barrier, but still the thyroid hormone, so they are involved in the development of the, that is the brain, by enhancing the formation of one protein. So that protein is known as the myelin. So this myelin is present around the, that is the axon. So this is the axon, this is the nucleus, so this is the end part. So that is the axon, around the axon one layer is present, so that layer is made up of the one protein, so that protein is known as the myelin, and this myelin is required for the conductions of impulses or information from nucleus to the end part of the synaptic vesicles or end part of the that is the neurons. Okay, so that transmissions of impulses from nucleus to the end part of the neuron, that is mainly depending upon the myelin sheath or myelin protein. So as the myelin protein is more rapidly, so that message can reaches to the end part of the neuron. Then the end part of neuron, it is involved in the secretions of particular type of neurotransmitter, they can containing the message. So that message is transferred to the different parts of the body. According to that, immediately you can react with the person. For example, if I ask any question, so your answer was developed in the brain, so this is the answer, but your tongue cannot told the answer. If any other student, that student can answer the answer, then your brain is told, so this answer is already a no. But because in your tongue, that message cannot be reaches, because around your axon the myelin presence is the less. So that's why your intelligence is decreases, but your memory power is good. After that you will remember, Arey, this answer is already a no, it is the, but I cannot, I failed to talk or tell to teachers, because so that the transmissions of message, that is the answer from nucleus to the axon or another part, that is depending upon the protein, that is the myelin. So that myelin synthesis enhanced by the T3, and T3 do not cross the blood-brain barrier. In some books are mentioned, but in recently some article they are mentioned T3 is also crosses the blood-brain barrier. So whatever, you can clarify it by going through the standard books. On that time, in the from the old reference, the T4 is crosses the blood-brain barrier. Then T4 enter into the neuron, inside a neuron. So where it can convert into T3. So that T3 enhance the formations of protein, that is known as the myelinations of the neuron. So that myelin, it can bind around the axon. Then it is helpful for the conductions of impulses from nucleus of the neuron to the end part of the neuron, then next to the another neuron. So like that, your intelligence can be increases as the myelin is more and your intelligence is the more. Otherwise, you are too sharp, your memory is too good, but your reaction rate is too slow due to lack of the teeth. So that's why you sufficient concentrations of the iodide should be present in your food in the form of the iodide salt or in the form of the seafood. Then only your brain power can be increased. You should be controlled, because excess consumptions of the salt, it can causes the hypertensions. But memory power is sharp, but you are suffering from the, that is the hallucination due to increase the heart rate and blood pressure. So that you concentrate, you should be take the normal quantity of the iodine, or you can prefer the seafood only containing the iodine, there is no excess of the salt. Okay, that is required for the to enhance your IQ. That IQ is helpful for the to qualify the GPAT. Okay, you do not need to read all things. If you're having the good IQ means, so that IQ is helpful, because I read already somewhere, our sir told growth hormone is having the anti-insulin like activity, but thyroid hormone do not have the anti-insulin like activity. Like that, your brain can be recall. So that property is known as the IQ or intelligence. That is depending upon the myelin sheath around the axon, and myelin sheath formation is depending upon the myelin protein, and myelin protein synthesis is mainly depending upon the your mental status and T3. If T3 is sufficient, but you are not going to a good rest, then also your brain power can be decreases. Okay, here the brain conditions or memory power of brain is mainly depending upon the mental status or relaxations of brain and T3. Okay, so then next, pharmacology, that is the action on memory gland. So here the T3, it can stimulate the SNR cells. So those cells in the memory glands, so they are involved in the formations of the milk, and that is helpful for the lactations in the laboring woman. It means the T3 are thyroid hormone, so they are involved in the also lactations. If any deficiency of the T3 or thyroid hormone, then the lactation is not possible. Okay, so after laboring, after pregnancy, when childbirth is occurs, if there is no lactations in the mother, so then once again please you also check the, that is the T3 levels or T4 level. If it is less, so that lack of lactation is due to T3 and T4. When with the help of the seafood you can provide seafood to that woman. So then, so that woman's T3 level is increases by getting the reach of iodide, then automatically the lactation was corrected. Okay, so next pharmacological action, that is cardiovascular system or effect on the CVS. So here that is the indirectly the T3 enhance the heart rate and cardiac output by causing the accumulations of calcium. Because dear students, the iodide enter inside cell by enhancing the sodium level. Okay, and sodium in as the sodium level increases, it can cause the one condition. So that condition is the depolarization, and depolarization is helpful for release of the calcium. And here the T3 in another cell also it can causes the accumulations of sodium or accumulations of the calcium. So due to that, in the cardiac muscle also it can enhance the turnover of the calcium, or it can enhance the metabolic activity of the tissues. So due to that, it can increase the heart rate and cardiac output. And as well as due to accumulations of calcium, it can causes the contractility, that is nothing but contractions of the cardiac muscles. So here the increased heart rate and cardiac output, so these are account for the indirect actions of T3, and contractility is account for the direct actions of the T4. It means the T3 on the cardiac system, it having the indirect and direct action. Indirectly it enhance the heart rate, cardiac output, enhance the muscular activity, and directly it can enhance the accumulations of calcium by causing the and enhance the contractions of the heart rate, or the contractions of cardiac muscle. So due to contractions of the cardiac muscle, it can enhance the force of contractions. So as the force of contraction increases, the blood pressure is also increased. It means the over secretion of the T3 T4 also it can enhance the hypertension or blood pressure, or the excess secretion of T4 it is also responsible for to cause of the hypertension. It means once again I denoted to you, if any person is having the hypertension, means once again you can check the T3 T4 level also, because blood pressure increases due to malfunctions of the blood vessels or malfunctions of the, that is the heart, but also it is due to over secretion of T3. So that's why you need exact risk factor for hypertension. Then you can go for the detailed test of the blood. If T3 T4 level is increased in the blood, so that hypertension is due to T3. If you control T3 T4, automatically hypertension, high blood pressure can be controlled. If T3 T4 is normal, then it may be accumulations of cholesterol, it may be malfunction, it may be malfunction in the brain. So that is the reason for the hypertension. That's why you can go for the detailed blood sampling or blood screening for to identify the risk factors for the hypertension. So next, dear students, so on the GIT, so this grow that is the thyroid hormone, they enhance the propulsion movement, that is the movement of food from intestine one part to the another part. That movement is helpful for to avoid the constipation. Okay, because so as the movement increases, then there is no constipation. So as the movement decreases, then it can causes the, that is the problem in the mornings. So that one condition is known as the constipations. If T3 level is more, then more movement, then it can cause the diarrhea. In certain conditions, the diarrhea is not controlled by the any medications. I already seen one patient, they are spent more than around 40 lakhs to control only diarrhea, but I think they do not got the exact risk factor, because the excess secretions of T3 it can enhance the more proportions of movement. Then food do not stay in the GIT. As eating, it can going outside the body due to more T3. Okay, so that is because enhance the propulsion movement. Okay, you should be also such certain condition, if the diarrhea is not controlled by the any drugs or any surgery. Okay, so even for that candidate, they can go for a surgery. Still, that is the unsuccess. Then the death was occurs. Okay, war. I think that may be due to T3 or any psychological disturbance. So where the anti-systemic anti-diet drug was a fail. So that's why if any conclusion, as your ideal pharmacist, you also once again you go for the T3 whether the level is normal or abnormal. On another side, the T3 is also enhance the secretions of the gastric secretion. So it is helpful for to enhance the to take the appetite. Okay. So in the kidney, so this T3 it do not have any effect in the normal individuals. But when same T3 in the max oedemous patient, that is the deficiency of the T3 or hypothyroidism, that condition is known as the max edematous patients or max edematous condition. So were on that over people it can causes the diuresis. In normal individual it do not have any effect on the kidney, but those people they are suffering from the hypothyroidism. When we are administered the T3 hormone externally, so where it can cause the diuresis in the hypothyroidism patient when you are administered externally. Okay, because they are the deficiency of T3, so where we can treat it with the help of the thyroid hormone. So on that time only it can cause the diuresis. But regarding the skeletal muscle, in myxedema, it can cause the muscular weakness and flabby in where the hypothyroidism is present. But in the thyrotoxosis, that is hyperthyroidism or increase the level of T3, T4, that condition is known as thyrotoxis. So where the external administered T3, okay, that can cause the increase the muscle tone, tremor or weakness, and also it can cause the myopathy. It means when you are administered T3 to the hypothyroidism patient, where it can cause the muscular weakness or flabby, and where we are treated the that is the hyperthyroidisms. So in the thyrotoxic patient, so where inside the body whatever T3 releases, so that can cause the increase of muscle tone, tremor, weakness, and also it causes the myopathy. So that is the effect of the T3 on muscle. It is depending upon the conditions of the patients. Then next one, that is the reproduction. T3, T4 is also play important role in the reproductions because T3 also regulate the ovulation. Okay, T3 is also enhance the spermatogenesis. Okay, so like testosterone, progesterone, then estrogen, so they are involved in the regulations of ovulation and spermatogenesis. So same actions can be regulated by the T3 indirectly. So the deficiency of the T3, it may be causes the libido or infertility. It means the infertility in the female or male is also responsible for the hypothyroidism or deficiency of the T3 and T4. Okay, so last action, that is the homeostasis. The T3 it can stimulate the bone marrow. Okay, so that bone marrow involved in the formations of the blood cells. So it means the T3 T4 they enhance the productions of the RBC. If any deficiency of the T3, then also the person is suffering from the anemia or hemoglobin deficiency anemia due to lack of the stimulations of the bone marrow. Okay, so next that is the pharmacokinetics. So T3 T4, that is the analogs, so they are administered by the oral route, but naturally they are synthesized in the body, but whatever you are external administered, so they are administered by the oral route. Okay, so food, calcium preparations, that is aluminum containing acids, so they can decrease the absorptions of T4 and T3. It means so these hormones should be administered by the empty stomach or during the therapy of the T4 T3 for treatment of the hypothyroidism. So on that time you should be avoid the antacid especially, so that acid it can containing the aluminum, because so these antacid they can chelate with the T4 and inhibit the absorptions of the T4 from the stomach or T4 from the GIT. Okay, so T4 T3 or thyroid hormone, so they are mainly metabolized in the liver by deiodination process, that is the release of the iodine or suppressions of the iodine and tyrosine from the T3 and T4. So that separated tyrosine it can be reutilized and separated iodine, once again it can be reutilized. Okay, so maximum T4 T3, for they are metabolized by the deiodination process. So that deiodination process occurs in the liver. From the liver they are enter in the bile. From the bile they are enter in the small intestine. From the small intestine they are enter in the large intestine. From the large intestine they are processed further and reabsorbed and back to the circulation for synthesis of the once again thyroid hormones, or that protein is utilized for the development of the body. Okay, so the maximum of T3 T4 they are metabolized by the deiodinations and that can be reutilized with the help of the large intestine, because where the maximum reabsorption process can be occurs. Okay, so these hormones are also metabolized by conjugations with the glucuronide and sulfate. So then they are excreted through the urine. Okay, so that the main route for excretion of T3 T4 is a bile and as well as the kidney, because this is the pharmacokinetics of the thyroid hormone. So last one is the, that is that is the therapeutic uses. So this T3 T4 they are thyroid hormones, so they helpful for treatment of the cretinism. Cretinism means lack of the intelligence IQ or idiotics. Okay, the father mothers are good, they having the good memory power, but sometimes the children they will be idiotics, so they never easily understand the concept or easily understand the react with the neighbors, classmates. So that condition is known as the idiotics, or technically it is known as the, scientifically it is known as the cretinism. So that cretinism in the children, so that can treated with the help of the thyroid hormones. Or so these are also helpful for the treatment of the mox edema, that is the adult hypothyroidism. So due to deficiency of thyroid hormones, the thyroid gland can be swelled or their size can be increases. You can easily identify by observing your neck. So now your neck is normal. In the above the neck, the thyroid gland can swell, then size is increases. So that indicates we are suffering from the mox edema. That is nothing but deficiency of the T3 and T4 or malfunctions of the follicular cells or thyroid gland tissue. So that due to that, that candidate can be suffering from the swelling of the thyroid gland. So that condition is known as the mox edema. So that is the mox edema is also treated with the help of the thyroid hormones. Then as well as, so due to mox edema, the coma is occurs due to lack of regulations of calorie or lack of regulations of the utilizations of oxygen as a caloric action. So that's why that patient can be undergo the coma due to deficiency of the T3 and T4. So that condition is known as the mox edema, that is also treated with the help of the thyroid hormones. Next one is the non-toxic goiters. Okay, so due to deficiency of the T3 T4, the goiter is occurs. It is a non-toxic, it is not a cancer in nature. If that goiter it is a non-toxic or non-cancer, that is also corrected with the help of the thyroid hormones. Then as well as thyroid nodules, if any nodules are formed in the thyroid gland due to once again deficiency of T3 T4, that is also corrected with the help of the thyroid hormones. And as well as T3 T4 are helpful for the treatment of papillary carcinoma of the thyroid gland. If any cancer in the follicular cell, that is also corrected with the help of the T3 and T4, because T3 T4 also involved in the development of the proteins or tissues. Okay, so other empirical uses, that is the thyroid hormones are also helpful for the treatment of the anemias, that is especially refractory anemia, because the T4 T3 they can stimulate the bone marrow, that is helpful for the enhance the formations of hemoglobin and RBC, and that is helpful for treatment of the anemia. If anemia is not controlled by any systemic drug, आप कुछ भी खा रहे, आपका हीमोग्लोबिन नहीं बढ़ रहा, एनीमिया कम नहीं हो रहा, on that time there is a empirical treatment or choice of the treatment is a thyroid hormones. So that's why it is the one type of the empirical treatment. Empirical treatment means if any systemic drug is not available, okay, we're using certain medication, so that treatment is known as empirical treatment. For example, the treatment of covid के लिए अभी तक drug नहीं बना, but still the covid can be treated with the help of the particular type of the drug like chloroquine, then azithromycin, then vitamin C. So such type of treatment it is not made for the disease, but that drugs are helpful for the treatment of disease. And such type of treatment, superficial treatment, is known as the empirical treatment. So here the T3 T4, their empirical uses are, it is helpful for treatment of the anemias and also helpful for the treatment of the mental depression, because T3 T4 involve development of brain. So as the brain is more developed, it is more refreshed and it is more active, then automatically the depressions can be altered. Okay, as well as the T3 T4 thyroid helpful for to curb the menstrual disorder, because it is also stimulate the ovulation, but it cannot be corrected in fertility. Okay, अगर infertility है, it cannot be corrected. But if menstrual cycle is abnormal, so due to that infertilities occurs, then it can be menstrual cycle corrected. Then infertilities indirectly, directly they can be corrected. Then as well as, so T3 T4 they helpful for to control the non-healing ulcer, because so when the food will be more stay in the GIT, then only it can cause the exposure of GIT content to the wall of the GIT, then only ulcer can occur. But T3 T4 they can cause the propulsions of the food. So due to that reason, it is helpful for the treatment of the chronic and non-healing ulcers. Then last one, it is helpful for the treatment of the obstinate constipation. If constipation is not cleared by any systemic drug, so where the T3 T4 they are helpful, because so these drugs enhance the propulsions of the GIT movement, that is known as the peristalsis movement, segmentation movement, or pendular movements. So these movements are present as GIT. So they are helpful for the digestion of food or movement of food from duodenum to jejunum, jejunum to ileum, ileum to the large intestine, rectum, rectum to the outside the body. They are depending on certain movement. If the movement is decreases, then only we are suffering from the constipations. Okay, so here these drugs they can enhance the movement. So due to that, they are helpful for treatment of the obstinate constipations. Okay, so if you have any doubt, I think today you do not have any doubt, because time is more, but I apologize you. Okay, it is the mandatory today only to complete that topics. Okay, then thank you. So I will give link to the WhatsApp group where you can fill your attendance. Okay, anyone? Okay.